to recording.
Okay, anyway, so the Rav said, what is this? He said, in the past they used to do funny things, probably drugs. So I want to give it to the yeshiva. So like that, kapara. The Rav put the money like he was touching like poison. He pushed it away. He says, no, we don't take this money. This is ticking time bomb. He says, what do I do with it? He says, if you ask me, you burn it. He says, burn it? 50,000? How do you burn 50,000? 50,000 20, 30 years ago is money. A few hundred now. So the Rav said, I can burn it. He took a silver bowl and he burned the money. He burnt it in front of the money. Understand what it is? You have tzaddikim that money is nothing for them. But you have people around them. 50,000. Anyways.
I had a similar story with him like that.
Yeah?
Without kidding.
The Rav, I want to tell you something that I found out only after at the Shiva. That you know how much money passed through his hands, the Rav? You know how much money passed through his hands? And he didn't take $1 from the community. He lived in poverty. That means I think he had his apartment that the shul owned or something. He lived there, and he owned an apartment in Bnei Brak that he used to get rent from. And the little rent from Bnei Brak that they bought him at his wedding, that's what he used to live with. But he didn't touch $1 from everything. He didn't take a coffee in the shul.
So how do you have people in the Bet HaMikdash that you saw Ruach HaKodesh, and they fell for money, and here we don't have the Bet
No. 1 second. So again, the Kohanim, there's a lot of Kohanim over there. And by the way, I'm showing you one person. But on the other hand, like we said a lot of stories this week. On the other hand, you have people that fell. You have people that you have to be very careful. That means that he understands the danger of it. So once you start tasting and feeling it, the danger is so big that you could fall very deep. So a person, those positions where money is passing through his hands and his community and gabayit staka and giving, they have to be very careful. And that's why you hear the mafia. It's all rabbis is mafia because people are yetzerah, and sometimes it happens. What do you want? Sometimes. So we have to look for the ones that are really sonei betza. That the ones that so anyway, so it happens everywhere. So just be aware of that. Just be aware that Rabbeinu said there is mifursamim shel sheker, there was nevi'eh sheker, there was false prophets. They would pretend to be a prophet for money. I told you the story, huh? Right. This is not even a real Rebbe, a fake Rebbe. There was a story of the Baba Saleh, and I said that I knew the guy that saw it. His name is David Ephraim. He was learning in yeshiva in Tifrach. Where was he learning? In the Negev. Yeshiva the Negev. A guy came to Baba Saleh. He was in a wheelchair. Baba Saleh told him, "You're Mechalel Shabbat. That's why you can't walk. If you accept Shabbat, you're going to walk." And the guy walked in front of Baba Saleh. And the whole yeshiva came to see it, and the guy told me, he came like in the back of the car and he drove the car home. They saw it. Okay? That's 30, 40 years ago with Baba Saleh. There's real tzaddikim. There's Baal Shem Tov, there's Baba Saleh, there is Ribnitz Rebbe, there is real stuff. But because that Rabbeinu says, there's also the false ones. There's the fake ones. So the fake one, so once there was, they asked Rabbi Zilberstein. So the guy came to a Kever Tzaddik and there was a Baba there and there was prayers. And the guy, there was tefillot and everything, people were getting brachot. And then one guy came in a wheelchair and the Baba told him, "You're Mechalel Shabbat. Accept Shabbat and go kiss the Kever Tzaddik." And that's what he did. He picked himself up. And then it was a commotion. And then the Gabbai said, "We need money for the Mosdot of the Tzaddik." And one guy donated $5,000. So wow, that's his Rebbe now. It's new Baba, miracle. I saw with my eyes. What do you want? 6 months later, he was at another Kever Tzaddik in the north, in the south, and the north and south. And who comes in? The same Baba. His Rebbe's here. And again, there's tefillot, and again, there's blessings, and you know who was also there? The guy with the wheelchair. The same guy with the wheelchair. And again, you're Mechalel Shabbat, and if you walk...
You didn't learn his lesson.
What was his catch? There was the Nufi, he was watching the news. He was watching the news. And they were live. The guy's going to jump, he's not going to jump. He's going to jump, he's not. So the other Nufi tells him, what do you think he's going to jump? I don't know. I'll bet you $10 he's not going to jump. I'll bet you $10 he's going to jump. He's going to jump. So then the guy jumped, he paid him $10. So then the guy said, "No, I can't take the money from you. Really, I saw it yesterday. It was a repeat." He says, "I also saw it yesterday." He says, "So why did he say he's not going to jump?" He says, "He already made a mistake once. He's going to do it twice." So the Baba comes in, and the Baba does the same thing. And the guy asks the question, "Halakha, to posek. Do I have to give maser again? Because it was maser. And do I have to scream?"
The guy gave $5,000.
Yeah, do I have to scream, "Liar"? He said, "Yes and yes. You have to give maser again, and you have to scream, liar. It's a stealer." So, I don't know how we got a topic over here, because we spoke about the minhagim, and people could mess up, and you don't know who's coming to Bet Mikdash. Keep things standard. C'est toujours comme ça, tu ne changes pas, minhag c'est minhag, that's what we said. Okay? That was the opinion of Rabba Bar Ula. Svar lo gazrinan. And Rabbi Akiva Savar lo gazrinan. Lo gazrinan yavde bevav umechitza. So the Gemara questions, if we don't put gzera, and if you're allowed to bring the korban early on Shabbat, and you're not scared that in the future years people will not bring it in the morning, but we're going to push away the people that are bringing it in the but so bring it early, bring it 6.5 hours. So the Gemara says, "Kasavar musafin kornimin lebazichin." So at 6 hours in the day, you got to bring the musaf, and then you got to bring the bread, the showbread. You got to switch the showbread. Musafin b'shesh, bazichin b'zayin, b'zayin, v'avid tamid b'zayin mechitza. We bring the tamid at 7.5 hours. So that is the last opinion. We're going to go back now to Rabba and Abaye. Remember we said? So we said, now we're going to ask 2 questions on them, short little questions, and then we're going to go something different. So, Metiv Metiv. Again, let's review what Abaye said. Abaye said, the Machloket Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shmuel. Hold this well. That Rabbi Akiva, the question was, what do we do with a Shabbat that happens to be Erev Pesach? What do we do with the Shabbat that's Erev Pesach? Remember this? So Abaye said that Rabbi Shmuel says we keep it like a regular Erev Pesach. As a regular Erev Pesach, which is 7.5, 8.5. And Rabbi Akiva is going to say you do it 6, like a Erev, like you do like a 1 hour earlier, which is like a Friday Erev Pesach. 6.5, 7.5. Mativ. Now we ask a question with that. Here's another Braita. Tamid kol hashana kula karev kilchato. So the whole year the Tamid is going to brought as it's supposed to be done. Nishchat b'shmone u'mechitza v'karav b'teisha u'mechitza. 8.5, 9.5. Regular day, like we always know. Be'erev HaPesach, on Erev Pesach, nishchat b'zayin u'mechitza. Regular Erev Pesach, 7.5. V'karav b'shmone v'chitza. Chaliyot b'Shabbat. Now Erev Pesach on Shabbos. And now what do we remember we say? We said that Rabbi Akiva is going to say keep it standard 7.5, 8.5, and Rabbi Akiva is going to say 6.5, 7.5. Here it says Chaliyot b'Shabbat, Chaliyot b'Shabbat, ki Chaliyot b'Sheni b'Shabbat. Whether the Erev Pesach is Shabbos or whether it's Monday, they just chose random day. It's always the same. Divrei Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva omer ki siduro be'erev Pesach, and Rabbi Akiva is going to say it's the same as Erev Pesach. Bishlam al Abaye. This makes sense for Abaye. It's good. Naicha. El Rabba Kasha. Because what did we just say? The Friday is going to be the same. The Shabbos is going to be the same as regular Pesach. But according to Rava, the Shabbos is the same as a weekday. Here we're saying that it's the same as it's 7.5 and 8.5. But according to Rava, the way he explained Rabbi Shmuel, we're scared that the meat's going to rot, so you're going to put it at 8.5 and 9.5. The regular is a weekday. So how will Rava explain this? Because we just said very clearly that when it's Erev Pesach is Shabbat, or it's the Monday, it's the same. 8.5, 9.5. 7.5, 8.5. But according to Rava, it should be 8.5, 9.5.
Exactly.
And the Rava, Amar Licha Rava, lo tema kichad b'sheni b'Shabbat, ema kesheni b'Shabbat de alma. So he just changes the wording. It's not saying whether the Erev Pesach is Shabbos or whether it's Monday. No. When the Erev Pesach is Shabbos, you do the same as a regular Monday, which is 8.5, 9.5. So basically, Rabbi just says the same thing we said for Rabbi Shmuel. So he's able to deflect the kusha. One more small kusha on Abaye, and then we go forward. Meitive, Chaliyot b'Shabbat. So now it's Shabbat. The Korban Pesach is Shabbat. Erev Pesach is Shabbat. Ki siduro kol hashana kula divrei Rabbi Shmuel. So we do the same as the whole year. What is the whole year? It's 8.5, 9.5. So it's on Shabbat. The Erev Pesach, it's going to be 8.5, 9.5. That's good for Rava. Rabbi Akiva omer ki siduro be'erev HaPesach. The Alma. The word the Alma over here, do we take it off?
What do you mean we take it off?
No, we don't really need that word. You see the little bet over there? Okay. Bishlamane Rava Naicha. For Rava, this is good. Because the Shabbos will be the same as the week. Because Rava says that Rabbi Shmuel is scared of the meat rotting. So do it later. At Abaye Kasha. Abaye, you said it's 7.5, 8.5. Amar Lecha Abaye notema ki siduro kol hashana. And ema ki siduro kol hashanim. So don't read it's the same as the whole year. It's the same as all the years. All the years Erev Pesach is not on Shabbat. It's 7.5, 8.5. So here too, that's what it means. 7.5, 8.5. Kuran divrei Shmuel, Rabbi Akiva ki siduro Erev Pesach shechad liyot be'erev Shabbat. And according to Rabbi Akiva, it's going to go that Erev Pesach that it falls to be Erev Shabbos, which is going to be 6.5.
7.
Yeah, 6.5.
1 second. Rabbi Akiva ki siduro be'erev Pesach shechad liyot be'erev ha'Pesach. Yeah, that's according to Rabbi Abaye. It's going to be 6.5, and it's going to be 7.5. Okay, that's all. Tanu Rabbanan. Menayin shelo yeh davar kodem tamid shel shachar. Now we're going back to the regular tamid. We're speaking about a regular day, okay? Tamid is the first thing in the morning. How do we know that the tamid is the first thing in the morning? So you're going to read a pasuk now. Tamun Omar. See the little aleph over there? That's bringing you to what's called on my left margin, Torah Shalem, which brings you the full concept, the full pasuk, and it's important always to look at it. So let's read this pasuk together. Ve'esh on the mizbeach tukad. First thing to know, that on the mizbeach the fire always needs to be burning. It's interesting. On the outer mizbeach there was 3 ma'arechets. You know, ma'arachat ha'gdola, ktana. What are those 3 things? There's 3 fires burning. There's one big mizbeach, and the 3 fires burning. One is where we're bringing korbanot. One is where we're leaving it fire to be able to take coals, and those coals we brought for the inner one, which is the ketoret. The inner mizbeach is only for the ketoret. The outer mizbeach is for the korbanot. So the outer one is one we're actually burning the korbanot. The second one is we're actually using the coals, that always hot coals, to use for the inner one. And the third one is to burn the leftovers of the korbanot, if I'm not mistaken. But there always needs to be the fire in the mizbeach never goes out. It's an eternal fire, okay? First thing to know. Lo tukadbo, lo tichbe, do not extinguish it. Ubi'er aleya hakohen etzim baboker. That's called, the kohen has to come, first thing. Put some more firewood, so make sure that it keeps to go. Babokir, in the morning. Ve'alach aleya, listen well. And then on that, after the wood, you'll bring the ha'olah. And I point out that it says ha'olah, it doesn't say olah. An olah is an offering that could be brought many, many times. You could bring your own olah. You know what's an olah? Look at the spiritual level that they were in the time of the Beit Mikdash. If you had a bad thought, you would go to the Beit Mikdash and you would bring a korban.
Wow, for a bad thought.
For a bad thought. And that's called an olah, it's completely burnt. So there's now also, olah means it's completely burnt up. So you understand what level they were? You understand what the time of the Beit Mikdash is? Your mind is always focused. If your mind deviated, so you got to bring a korban.
Not everyone would do it, no?
Huh?
Not everyone would do it, no?
Huh?
There was less, when I was a kid and never, we didn't think nothing besides around the street.
Yeah.
When you grow up and you start seeing things, your mind start to...
Yeah, but even if you see things, the purity, if you're pure, you don't see anything. You see, you don't see. Understand? You don't even see I don't know what you're talking about. And sometimes when your mind is not pure, you can look at a tree and you're thinking things are impure.
I always think how I can back to my childhood. When I was 5, 10 years old, you didn't think about nothing.
Come every day to here and
I think you're not the only one.
okay. Now it doesn't say olah. By the way, if you want to bring it up, it says ha'olah. Now also,
Thank God it's not black.
the tamid was an olah. The tamid was an olah in the morning and the afternoon. Here it says ha'olah. Okay, I want you to remember that. Viktir aleya chelvei shlamim. You bring after that the fats of the shlamim. It also doesn't say shlamim. It says ha-shlamim. Shlamim in general is a type of korban that you bring. It's a peace offering. You just, want to come close to Hashem. You give a donation, you make a kiddush. Why? I like the shul. I like you guys. I want to give an event. It's no reason. No reason. So shlamim is like that. Coming and giving korban for no other reason. But now it sounds to be the fire's there. You put firewood. You bring the olah, and then you bring shlamim. So let's see what the Gemara says. How do we know that it has to be the first thing? Amar Rava, Talmud Omar, arach aleya ha'olah. My Talmuda, Amar Rava ha'olah. Olah Rishona. The hay means you got to bring ha'olah, the first one, that's the communal one. You might have thought the first thing you bring is a regular olah. No, it says ha'olah. That means the communal offering is the first thing they brought. Uminayin shen davar karev achal tamid shel ben arba'in. How do we know that it's the last thing that you bring as well? In the afternoon, like we said, 8.5 to 9 hours, you bring the tamid shel ben arba'in, the evening one. Amunuma viktir aleya chelvei hashlamim. So you got to bring fats of shlamim. So aliyah means in the morning. In the morning one, that's when you bring the shlamim. You can't bring the shlamim in the afternoon and the evening. So you see there, you bring the korbanot only in the day. You can't bring it after in the evening. My Talmuda. Amar Abaye, aliyah shlamim velo al chavreta shlamim. You can bring shlamim only after the morning one. You can't bring shlamim after evening one. Matkif la Rava. Rava says, Ema shlamim udelo kariv nakriv. Ha'olot nakriv. Okay, there's different types of korbanot. I won't bring a shlamim. I'll only bring in the day, but I can bring in the evening after the tamid. I can bring many other. I can bring chatat. I can bring olah because you just told me shlamim. So we change what it means. Amar Rava hashlamim. You know this. He said everything in tefillah. Ale hashlamim. Ale hashlem kol korbanat kunan. So when it says you bring hashlamim, it's not shlamim. It's hashlem, because the hay over there is changing it. It's not that you bring shlamim, you bring chevei hashelamim. But since the Torah wants to tell you something extra, it added the hay over there. Hashlem, finish up all the korbanot. Complete all the service of the day after the first korban and not after the second korban. Bottom line is that you put the firewood, you bring an olah. After olah, bring anything you want. But you cannot bring anything after the night korban, because it says hashlamim, hashlamim. Anything you want to add, be mashlim, finish up the whole job after the first korban, not after the second korban.